Hey guys, good day, how's it going? So I'm here at the Ollantaytambo Archaeological Park, again, just around the corner from where I'm staying. This is one of the really cool rocks that builds up some of the more advanced ruins that some people believe are megalithic. I believe are probably that era, sort of 12,000 years ago. They're probably built by the beings that left Atlantis as Atlantis was destroyed, possibly with extraterrestrial interaction. But of course, I believe like Atlantis and the extraterrestrials, they're all interacting. You know, they were very advanced beings, sometimes known as the sons of gods in Egypt, or the Nephilm in the Bible, the Anunnaki, these kind of beings. I don't know the exact story. And however, I just bumped into this guy, David, from the US, originally a Brummie from Birmingham in the UK. Do you want to wave and say hi at the camera?
Hi everybody.
So I just got chatting to David, and I managed to talk him into quite easily to joining me and speaking on my camera to my YouTube channel. So thanks, David, for agreeing to speak on YouTube. And so we just got chatting, and I was saying, like, I gave him my normal stories, like, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, I've got a YouTube channel and I've got an interest in aliens, and I think the ruins up there up top where this is the main archaeological park where David's heading, may have been built by extraterrestrials. I didn't go as deep as the Atlantis part, but I'm sure he's heard that story. And David's travelled around the world a bit, travelled, he's a regular guy, he's not a crazy channeler like me. So David's travelled around the world a bit and been to a lot of these sites, and we just got chatting about how they just appear to be very advanced and no one knows how they make them. So I thought I'd get him on video, and just so David, so thanks for coming on the channel.
Hi everybody.
So what do you think, like, what's your opinion after having seen, so presumably you've seen these kind of ruins before, and so what's your opinion? Do you have a theory, an idea on how they might have made? Do you think there's a possibility they could have been extraterrestrial interaction or connected to Atlantis or something, you know, what we might call very mysterious and almost unbelievable? What do you think, David?
Well, I'm sorry to say that I don't really have in-depth research personally on how this all came about. It just seems really strange to me that everything is so precisely made, and they didn't have the tools at the time, obviously, to do that. And I'm just as baffled as anybody else. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, so this is all I really wanted you to say. This is what interested me, because like I'm kind of the same, you know. I see all this. I've had an interest in UFOs. I've had UFO experiences. I've had even more bizarre experiences. I've actually been on a ship. A lot of people find that quite hard to believe. But I've had a lot of experiences with ETs and UFOs, and I've come here. I've been in Peru for a while now, and I've been looking at all this architecture.
Okay, well, I've got a question actually. If they did come down all these thousands of years ago to assist, or is your theory that they assisted the locals to do it, or they just made it for them? Just says, hey, we're going to build this stuff and we're just going to fly back into outer space. What's the actual theory behind how much they assisted, if aliens were indeed involved? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. The complete answer is I don't know. However, I've been this is something I'd like people to give me the answer to. Like, maybe one day we find the answer for sure. But it's something I've been interested in for a while, and I've asked people a lot of questions. I've done a lot of research, and so part of the story goes like the Inca legend says that there was a being called Viracocha, and he kind of looked a bit like this guy on my t-shirt here. I think these are one of the same beings. I don't think this is actually Viracocha. I think this is one of the other beings. He's like assistants. And the story goes, it's a bit like the story from Genesis in the Bible. It's very similar to very similar connections to Genesis in the Bible. The story goes that Viracocha was a being that came out of Lake Titicaca. That's the sacred lake. Some people say it's one of the chakras, the sacral chakra of the world. It's here in Peru, between Peru and Bolivia. It's a very high altitude. And the story goes that Viracocha came out of Lake Titicaca and he gave birth to, kind of like Genesis. He gave birth to the planet. He gave birth to the animals. He created the sky. He created the stars. He created the planets, and he also gave the Incas like their technology, their information, like agriculture, astronomy, mathematics, like medicine, and architecture. So the story goes that these advanced architectural techniques, according to the Incas, were taught in a time long, long ago by a being called Viracocha. And so I'm reading a book at present called Initiation by Elizabeth Heitch. It's a book about ancient Egypt that we were just talking about, so you might find it interesting, actually. And you'll be able to see this because you subscribe to my YouTube channel now. So.
Indeed.
So, and there's a very similar story there that there were these beings called the sons of gods, as they called them, which were kind of like the Anunnaki, the Nephilm, other names, I believe, and they were a more advanced race. And in the book, in the story, in Initiation, it says how they were beings that didn't forget they were spirits, like us as humans. Like we become very identified with our physical bodies. And we believe that we are our physical bodies and our minds, and we get very lost in things like vanity, sex, money, greed, material possession, stuff like this. But the story goes that the sons of gods were in a more advanced race that never forgot that they were souls and they were spirits, and so they. So
sounds like you've got somebody turning up.
Yes. So basically, the story goes that they were. In competition, we're going to best not argue. They're in military uniform.
Oh my God!
They look like they come fresh from the war.
Desert storm.
Hola, buenos dias. No, gracias.
No, gracias. So let me ask another question, if I can.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
These beings taught the humans of the time how to construct the architecture and learn the mathematics of how to precisely cut the stones and all that, right? Now, why would that happen once all those years ago? How come they're not coming down to rectify the crap that's going on now? Because there's a lot of issues. Maybe we could learn some more, if they're so advanced.
Well, I think the reason is that these advanced beings kind of respect our free will, and not just our free will, that they see us as a kind of one civilization, a collective civilization, and they kind of respect the wishes of everyone. And at present, not everyone on the planet wants them to come. For one start, most people, or a lot of people, don't believe that they even exist. A lot of people are still scared that if the extraterrestrials come, they might take us over, they might try and dominate us. There's still selfish people, like people in places of power that don't necessarily want them to come because they're doing very fine. The people in the oil industry and this, and the governments, they don't want the boat rocking because they already have nice cushy lives, and they're kind of worried that they might lose that.
Yeah.
And so, but around the story goes that around 12,000 years ago, there was this civilization called Atlantis, of course, Plato's legend, that Plato heard about apparently from his uncle that got it from priests in Egypt, apparently. And so the idea is that in Atlantis, all the beings, life is kind of cyclical in nature, and we reach high spiritual peaks, which we did 12,000 years ago. And then we go through a devolution of consciousness for another 12,000 years. They're around 12,000 or 24,000 year total cycles. And it's to do with how they call it the precession of the equinoxes, and how the astrological signs move through the zodiac. And the idea is that 12,000 years ago, we were a natural spiritual high point where everyone was kind of very enlightened, very loving, very compassionate, or much more so than now.
Well, do you think they might be waiting for us just to go extinct through our own mess up?
Do you
know what I mean? Because humans haven't been part, Homo sapiens haven't been that long on the planet. If you look at how long the prehistoric monsters were around and compared, it's tiny, right? And,
Yeah.
and we're not really going in the right direction. I don't want to sound pessimistic or anything.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I'm just wondering if maybe they're just thinking, okay, we came down, we showed you some tricks, and now, let's see what happens to you guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that there are many different extraterrestrial beings, some good, some bad, some neutral. And so perhaps some of them do kind of look at it like that. We'll just wait till they go extinct and we'll go down, we'll reap the gold.
Why do you think they stay anonymous? Because if they're so, if they have the ability to come here and do that and then go away, and why would they not show themselves more, make themselves more apparent?
Yeah, well, I think these questions are kind of connected. From what I understand, because I work as a channel as well, I channel extraterrestrials. I receive messages. This is kind of how it started from me, and so and from a lot of study of like people that have had interactions with them, it seems that they tell us that we're going through a spiritual evolution at present, and we're kind of going through a very powerful time, and they're kind of waiting for us to evolve naturally. It's kind of like apparently in Star Trek there's something called the Prime Directive, which is like kind of don't interfere with the evolving natives, because they're going through their own process, and they see us as souls that have come to Earth to go through a very specific experience, a very challenging experience, as we all know Earth is, and so that we can evolve spiritually and come to a new spiritual understanding. And from their perspective, if they just kind of landed and gave us all like free energy devices and the ability to instantaneously manifest gold, and kind of showed us how to become instantly enlightened, which I think is kind of impossible because we have to go through this process ourselves. They would kind of mess with the choices we made as souls to have this experience on Earth. And so
basically you've got to go through the process yourself.
Yeah, but basically they're waiting for us to go through the process ourselves, and they believe we are in that process at the minute. But at the same time, they are having some interactions with humans who are ready. They are communicating in various ways, such as in dreams. And
can I ask you another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, the ruins you mentioned earlier that I've been around the world and seen a few things, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got these the pyramids in Egypt, and you've got Aztec stuff, more north in Mexico and Guatemala, and or Petra in Jordan, for example. All these different architectural phenomena, but they're not all built at the same time, right? There's different centuries where, these came to be. But the ability for the humans at the time to build those structures has similarities, right? They all have similarities. So that could indicate that there was an alien force of some sort that was assisting, but it didn't just come down for one weekend. It would come down, you know what I mean? It would come down at different times in human progression on different parts of the planet.
Yeah, and there's definitely been extraterrestrial interaction, probably going back for millions of years on Earth.
Right.
And but also, I believe, from what I understand, like Atlantis was a real civilization, and there was a catastrophe that happened in Atlantis, some kind of flood, and there's lots of stuff in the historical record that suggests there was a major flood around 12,000 years ago. There's geological evidence of this, and so the theory is, or what I've heard and what I believe and what we see the evidence of around here, is that after that, some beings survived that flood. Some beings were prepared for it. They saw it coming. Apparently there was a comet in the sky that gave them warning, and some of the more advanced beings survived the flood, and they actually went to different areas in the world. They came here in Peru, I believe, and built some of these amazing sites up here. Cut some of these amazing stones down here, and this is where the technology came from. And that some of them went to Egypt, to like Giza in Egypt, and like built the pyramids and the temples. In Egypt, and they went to other places in the world. And so this information was all kind of shared, across all around the world. And so a lot of this, I think, is kind of handed down and was taught to the locals and the local people, the Egyptians, you know, the Peruvians, and eventually coming down to the Incas. They were all taught how to do this. But over time, I think the knowledge kind of got lost. It seems. So I think one reason is this, you know, it was passed down from generation to generation, and there's kind of different levels of it, like, yeah, I if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like cobblers that used to fix shoes. They don't exist anymore, do they? Because you just throw your shoes away. And
they do here in Peru.
They do it in Peru. Okay, good to know, just in case my sandals go kaput. But anyway, what about Africa? I mean, you've got the Middle East, you've got Central America, you've got South America. You know, but is there any structures in Africa that you know? I can't think of a country. I don't know. But do you know much about that? Why did they leave that continent off the list?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Because
I mean, I'm sure there must be structures. I'm not an expert on this.
No,
you know, my thing is more the ufology and the
Okay.
ETs. So
yeah, but there's no. To you, there's no extraterrestrial stuff that's been in Africa.
There's a story of a tribe called the Dogon in Africa who have a lot of advanced knowledge about the stars, and the story goes that beings from Sirius, who were actually like semi-aquatic amphibious beings, I believe, landed in an area in Africa, I'm not sure where it was, and taught a lot of stuff to a tribe called the Dogon, D-O-G-O-N. So you might want to do a little bit of research into that.
So, are there any skeptics about that have an actual other idea of how they did it, and that negates the idea of it being assisted by an alien force? Do you know what I mean? Historians or
I've not heard a you know, the official story goes that it was made like they used to say. I think they're not so much talking this anymore because like everyone's becoming more open-minded. Like the site up here where it's Inca at the bottom, and what I believe is like the Atlantean stuff at the top. They used to say it was all built by the Incas, from what I understand from watching another channel, a guy called Brien Foerster. He's got quite a big YouTube channel talking about this. But he says they used to say that this entire park was built by the Incas. But now the area that I believe was built much longer ago, actually it's got a sign saying pre-Inca. So I think they're starting to change their tune. But the original story goes that you know, in Egypt, they had copper tools. Here, apparently, they had bronze tools. The Incas had bronze tools a bit later. And they claim that they made these super advanced structures that we can't even reproduce today because they're so advanced with like precision. I mean, we're sat on this one of these stones here. Nice synchronicity. I just bumped into David here. I mean, this is this is not even the best example, but it's a pretty good example. I mean, look at the straightness of that. I mean, the story goes that the Incas made them with bronze tools. In ancient Egypt, they were made with copper tools, which is even softer. I mean, copper is so soft, it's ridiculous.
And they make all the walls without cement. They just precisely fit together, and you can't even stick a piece of paper between them.
Yeah,
so
and
get it so. It's these unanswered questions are.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't have the answers. I'm trying to find the answers myself. I believe it was probably done by some kind of sound vibration, where they were literally able to use like kind of an acoustic frequency to actually melt the rocks and melt them together. So I think this is the most likely idea. And interestingly, I spoke to a guy who's an architect here in Peru, like an architect over in the West. And he says that in modern construction they have to use mortar between walls, because even if there's the slightest bobble between two stones, anytime there's any land movement, like even a very low earthquake or a light earthquake, it would cause the building to rattle to pieces. So that's why they have to use mortar today. But none of these structures will use mortar. And if you see, like it's corroded a bit, but this is like dead flat. There's perhaps there is like a little bit of, but I think that's just like corrosion over time. You know, if this is 12,000 years old, you know, we can't blame them for having a little bit of corrosion. But certainly up the top here, like Like they get them so flat, there's like no bubbles, or
yeah. But some of these constructions, the rocks aren't even local. So, and they're gigantic. I mean, how they moved them from one place to the other in itself, regardless of the precision of how they cut them, or I don't know, sanded them down somehow. How they get them from A to B. Now you have all these stories that they rolled logs and they had, you know, loads of people shoving them along on logs. I mean, it doesn't seem feasible, does it?
yeah, no, it's. I mean, I believe, like, if I had to give my greatest guess, I believe they levitated them.
Right.
It seems they had the technology similar, like acoustic technology, where if they could. There's actually a series on Gaia TV. I'm not sure if you heard of Gaia TV, but it's quite a popular sort of spiritual alternative TV channel, and they had this. They're doing a lot of research into it, and they're starting to be able to reproduce it, and a lot of people believe that if you can like create the right acoustic frequency, the right sound frequency, in accompaniment to a kind of technology, they were actually able to levitate the rocks.
Well, maybe everybody in those days was more like David Blaine. You know, maybe we've digressed as humans. Maybe we had more powers in that time. You know, maybe it was. Do you know what I mean? Like we could have lost the ability to do that levitation. Maybe there was folks in those days that could do that. I don't know. Just regular humans. Not
yeah, I mean, there's lots of stories in India, even to present day, I believe, about like yogis being able to levitate themselves.
Yeah.
And
or
so,
stand on one leg for a year or something.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe this was the case. I believe like these beings, like Viracocha and the sons of gods in ancient Egypt, I believe they had very advanced powers.
So maybe us as humans aren't advancing. Maybe we're digressing in certain areas of our abilities. What is my point?
Well, yeah. Well, this is the theory that I've talked about for a while. That the life is cyclical in nature, and we go through like this 24,600 year cycle, I believe, according to how the stars move through the sky, the astrological signs, over a 24,600 year period. And the theory is that around 12,000 years ago, there was a civilization which we know as Atlantis that was at the height of its evolution, very highly evolved spiritually, very highly evolved culturally, very highly evolved scientifically, that had science, culture, spirituality, way more advanced than what we have today. And that we've gone through this devolutionary period, and we've actually gone through a 12,000 year devolutionary period, which reached the very bottom point at December the 21st, 2012, the famous date on the Mayan calendar that was supposed to be the end of the world. And we're now actually going into an upward cycle again. So since December the 21st, 2012, so for 10 years we've actually been going on an upward cycle again, which will last for another 12,600 years. But it's kind of like not just circular, it's spiral. So we will reach a new level, a new octave, and we'll be on a whole new level in another 12,000 years. So not long to wait, guys.
So the structures that the Mayans, the Incas and the Aztecs built, are they very similar, or is there some real differences that would suggest, you know, they got assistance in different ways, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's definitely some structural similarities. I'll try and remember to put a link in the box below. There's a guy called Brien Foerster who's got quite a big YouTube channel that goes all around the world talking about this. He's a big expert on this, and he's been around all these sites and he talks about this a lot. But yeah, there's definitely some similarities all around the world. So I think we'll call the video a day there, because I'm a little concerned about my camera in this Peruvian sun for 24 minutes.
Well, I hope I was of assistance to get a little conversation going.
Yeah, that was really great, David. That'll make a great YouTube video. And so thanks, guys, and thanks a lot, David, for joining me. It's been really helpful. Yeah. And we shall see.
I've got 7 videos up on YouTube.
Oh, nice. Do you want to share your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I'm just started. Gallivanting Dave.
Gallivanting Dave.
Yeah, okay. That's it.
So guys, check out Gallivanting Dave, subscribe to his YouTube channel. And what is it, talking about stuff like this,
no,
or
it's just
travels?
little places that I visit. I just do a little what happened during that whole day, basically.
Oh, nice.
Just introduce people into I don't know, a tourist attraction for the day, basically.
Awesome, thanks David.
Okay.
So check out Gallivanting David, and maybe you'll be inspired to drop in a bit of this kind of content in the future.
Yeah.
So here we have the return of the Incas to, where is he? Can you see him? There he is, coming through. So is this Viracocha? Viracocha has returned to save us. So thanks guys, and thanks David, and thanks Viracocha for showing up.
It's great to meet you.
Have a great day guys, peace out, love and lights, bye bye. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview. If you're interested in learning to channel extraterrestrials and begin to make extraterrestrial contact, I have a course running this September, live group course, live interactive sessions with myself and the beings I channel, the Yahyel, and perhaps other beings too, most likely other beings too, because it's got an extraterrestrial contact theme. So check out the link below, jonathantrinity.com/channeling. Shibai.